Hey, you're listening to Chew the Scene with Lauren and Danny, sponsored by Kevin Lynch Music and Shankman O'Neill Children's Books. There we go. I messed it up.
Hi.
Hey, Danny is back.
I'm excited. I missed out on all the festivities. New logo, new theme song. I mean,
I know. We were like, Danny, where are you? But you were busy. You were at a training.
Yeah. What was I? Oh, yeah. We have a new CRM system, a new customer. We have a new ticketing system at the growing stage.
Yeah, he
it
was
literally
like,
a week of my time.
And he was like, the
That's
CRM
fun.
system is really hard. And I'm like, what is that?
I was just chewing on a
I was
cookie.
like, whatever.
I was chewing
You were
literally before.
chewing. So
Yeah.
thank you for joining us today. We are talking to at 1:30. We're going to be calling into author Ilene Angel. I'm very excited. She was very gracious. I had to push the interview back a week, and she was like, "No problem." So we will be calling her about her book, How to. Oh, I'm like out of it. My phone's over there. But it's all
Get
about
the hell out of your head.
yes, and
Right?
get happy.
I'm gonna
Eileen, we're gonna say it right. We're gonna say it right.
Get the hell out of your head.
No, it's not. It's like how to.
I know hell is in there, though.
It is hell, and that's why I love it. I love the font, and I love everything about it.
Get the hell out of your way and be happy. Is that
Something is that what it is? Did she write it?
I don't remember.
know. So anyway, we are back on this weird. It's like cold, but it's also not cold in New Jersey.
Yeah. I'm kind of like, I don't know.
It's like warm cold.
It's warm cold, which I don't know. I want a snowstorm.
I know. I want a
Said
day,
it.
but I want it during the week when I don't have to go anywhere and I could stay home. Well, we had that snow day on Saturday, and I went crazy. I made Instant Pot chicken soup. I made, what else did I make? I made like a ton of food. I made a London broil. I made a salad. I'm not a big baker.
London broil. I'm
was
coming over.
delicious.
So real quick,
Yes.
it's how to calm the hell down
That's
and be
it.
happy.
How to calm the hell down and be
I remember
happy.
when you sent me
I know.
when you sent me the information, and I saw what the hell's going on over there. When you sent me the information, I was like, I love that title.
Mm-hmm.
That right away, I want to read the book.
I know. 'Cause
And Eileen just commented on Facebook.
can you tell us, Kevin? No, he can't tell us.
It's the title.
Oh, the title. Thank you.
Thank you,
my
Eileen.
phone's over there charging because I got to call you. So yeah. So what we talked to Zachary James. That was last week. Fascinating guy, really, and he's so interesting. Original Lurch on Broadway. This opera singer, but he goes back and forth between musical theater and opera, which I think is fantastic.
That's exciting because I mean it's two different worlds.
Two different worlds.
So to be able to go between those, I think is speaks of his talent.
It
Speaks highly of his talent.
Totally
so.
does. And he's in Florida right now because I just checked his story this morning. So you can go. You know what? Go to my YouTube, Lauren Moran Mills. I think I have like 30 some odd interviews up, and they're fantastic. We did a little damage control about our my gaffe with the actor,
It's
not
not your
actor,
gaffe.
but. So we've moved past that. But, I do have a lot of great interviews that we've done with legit actors that deserve to be listened to. So listen, go to Lauren Moran Mills, go hit subscribe. It takes a second. If you subscribe to me, I'll subscribe to you. But check out these interviews because a lot of them are awesome master classes in acting and theater and music and writing. Austin Pendleton, Len Cariou, Peter Honorati, Carrie Mantelaka. I mean, we've Brian Gallagher, Donna Vivino. We just so please go check those interviews out as well because they really are a lot of fun.
Yeah, and speaking of master class, we had Austin Pendleton
and Barbara Blyer.
Which you got to see them recently.
Yes, I wanted to talk about our
exciting.
recent, and you saw someone recently. So I went Monday night. Went to Pangea in New York, downtown. Cool little club. I felt very, I don't know. I was texting Danny when I got home, or maybe the next day.
No, it was when you got home. And because I had asked you about the place, and I said, was it like 54 below? And you said smaller, and then you said downtown. And I immediately got what you meant. It was, for those of you that are avid, I guess, New York City goers, there's a huge difference between
uptown,
Times Square, and downtown. And I know that folks are like, I can't do Times Square anymore. It's just so, it's a big amusement park. Go downtown. Go downtown.
Yes.
If you've never been downtown, I mean, I love the Village. I just love that vibe.
Yeah, downtown.
I mean, don't go like that downtown. Like we're not talking financial district downtown.
No, but this place, and we got a spot right in front of the restaurant, street parking.
That's amazing.
And it was free because after 7.
My sister works downtown.
Yeah.
And she, on the weekend, she drives in and parks on the street. And,
Yeah.
and before she used to work by Bryant Park, and she's like, I could never do that.
No.
By Bryant Park. But downtown.
Actually, our journey getting into the city was pretty funny because I thought we had enough gas, and all of a sudden we get by the tunnel and it's like low fuel, and then I start having anxiety because like the last
get stuck in the tunnel, and then it's gonna turn into that movie with Sylvester Stallone.
Oh God, where like the flood comes and we're like swimming through.
You know that I think about that every time I go through the tunnel.
Oh,
like
me
what
too.
if we
I
get
do
stuck?
Too. Like what if we get stuck? Like what if it like
But
collapses?
you know what? They have like those little doors, and I'm like, is that how you get out?
I don't know, but
or do you open that door and all of a sudden all the water comes in?
I was gonna say because it's not water,
and then the Hudson River just like empties out, and
we're
it's
dead.
all because
end of movie
because your car ran out of gas.
That freaked me out.
End of movie, she says.
End of movie. You know, my grandfather was actually an engineer on the Holland Tunnel. We actually, I would say we have photos, but there's someone in my family that has all those pictures. I don't have one picture.
You know,
there's a picture of my grandfather in the Holland Tunnel as it's being built.
And I think that's fascinating because we don't think about those things, but when you go through the Holland Tunnel or the Lincoln Tunnel, you think about how did they build this? It's under the river.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. But I think of that too. Like, you know, and I have friends that we actually, when we go in the city, my one friend, he has PTSD, so we can only take the bridge. He can't go through the tunnel because he can't get stuck in the tunnel.
And it's interesting because
you know,
the bridge, I mean, I don't mind doing the bridge, but the bridge is so massive.
I know.
That especially if you do upper level.
Oh, yes.
All of a sudden you're like, if you have like fear of heights, I feel like you're like, whoa, this is a
little... Here's the thing. Do you have fear of heights? I have fear of falling. That's what I have a fear of.
Phobias?
I have a fear of falling from a high.
Okay.
What about you guys out there? Is anyone asking questions?
I feel like I'm one of those that I'll go to like the 100th floor.
Right.
And I'll step over to look over it, but I'm like holding on, but I'm not like freaking out.
I could be in an airplane. I could be in a cruise.
Oh yeah, totally.
But I'll never forget my mom and I went.
I always feel.
If I'm like open, I can't do it.
I feel Like, and in a plane, though, like, you know, some people have fear of flying. I always feel comfortable.
No, I love flying.
Mm-hmm.
I love flying. We went to the Breakers years ago, my mom and I, which is the Vanderbilt Mansion in Rhode Island. And you go up the stairs and you can look over. It was like very Downton Abbey. You can look over the into, you know, the foyer. And I'll never forget, I looked over and I froze. My mom had to come and like pull me back. It was like the weirdest thing. Like I literally was like, I can't move right now. I couldn't move at all. It was like I had this like literal, it was like really bizarre. Like my body just froze. I don't know why. I also don't like water, believe it or not. I'll do pools, but I won't do a dark pool. And I do not.
So you won't do the ocean?
I don't really like the ocean.
I
wish I did. Yeah. I love the idea of it, but I feel very...
That's like my happy place. Well, I always say the beach is my happy place.
I know you
But
love
I love to be like in the water. Literally like by myself. Well, not by myself. There's people there and there's lifeguards and stuff.
Like, you're not,
but like I'm in the water and I'm like, wow, this is just so peaceful.
It is peaceful.
There's
it's
like
beautiful.
a sense of like serenity and just, you know, like.
And then that shark comes and like
then,
eats
like,
your leg off.
Like burns your foot.
And you're dead. You're like bleeding
once
out.
Once I feel something, I run out.
Yeah.
Like a freaking crazy person. I'm like, help! Shark!
Wait, I want to talk. So I got to see Barbara Blyer and Austin Pendleton but you saw, I want to talk to you because you got to see Joey McIntyre. New kid on the block. The right stuff.
Yeah,
so
Joey McIntyre.
How was it?
In 12th Night at Two River Theater down in Red Bank.
He was good, right?
He was good.
You know what? You wouldn't think, right?
And you know what? Shame on us for not
being like more like. What do you mean?
Like I felt like I had my expectations low.
Right, because you're like he's a new kid on the block.
But he was Duke Orsino.
Yeah, that's a good part for him, actually.
Which is a good part for him. It was brilliantly directed by Sarah Holden, who I think used to write for New York Magazine. She was like a theater critic before.
The reviews are fantastic.
Yeah. Because there's like a somber sense to it too. It's it's a comedy, of course. It's one of the most popular comedies of Shakespeare. But there's like, I feel like it's kind of like Oklahoma, how this production was woke.
Yes.
This one isn't like woke, but there's more somber moments. Like there's more realism that she's kind of pulled out of it and everything like that. But it opens with Duke Orsino. He has that famous line.
He looks great too. And the pictures I saw were awesome.
All of his costumes bare-chested.
Listen.
And there's one scene.
Are there tickets available?
Listen, there's
Is
one
he
scene
my
where he
age?
comes out and he's wearing just a towel.
Oh.
And he takes the towel off.
towel.
He turns his back to the audience, and he.
You get a little crack? A little lower crack?
He opens the towel, and then he puts on a robe, so you don't really.
You don't get like a little crack, though?
You
a little
don't see,
a little
no,
lower?
You don't see no butt crack.
I love
No
that.
crack.
Oh, no crack.
Say
No
it again,
crack.
crack.
Crack is whack. Crack is whack. Especially ass crack. Ass crack is whack.
I was very much impressed. And it was opening night.
Yeah, you look great.
Shout out to Jenna Castano, who now has a baby. So
You have to be your date.
usually opening nights are with her husband, but now someone has to stay home with the kid.
The little baby.
So I'm lucky that she asked me to be there. But it was so funny. We were going back to her office, and he was the first one out. And I was like, and she was talking to me, and I was like, Jenna, he's right there. And then I walked past him, and there was New Kids on the Block fans, and so we made friends with this one girl from Staten Island, and she's like, go back, get a photo.
Yeah, totally.
And I was like, and you could see that Jenna was kind of like, I don't want to get in trouble. Like she just felt weird
because
about
she
it.
works there, so she.
So the
feels a
girl
little
was
bit-
like, I'll go and ask him for you. So like we waited in line,
I
and
love
then
it.
took a photo with
I love
him,
it.
and then Jenna took a photo with him, and I went to photobomb the photo, and he literally was like, wait, do you know this guy? Like,
That's
but
so funny.
apparently he comes out for every performance to meet, like
When does it close? When does the show close?
February 2nd, I believe.
I want to go see
But he comes
it.
out to meet everybody, and they were like, you don't have to do that. Because it's not like a typical like Broadway
Right.
theater where you're coming
No,
out.
but he's like, I want
He comes
to.
out, and he was the first one out there, and we left around midnight, and he was still out there. You know who was there on Sunday that we missed?
Who?
Kimmy Gibbler from Full House.
Oh no, I love her. Or
Yeah.
Fuller House.
Fuller House.
Fuller House.
'Cause I guess
I
apparently he
was
was on.
such a big New Kid on the Block fan. I want to get tickets because you know that
Oh, but
my
real
best
quick-
friend was the president of the New Kids on the Block fan club in this area. Shout out Lauren. She was literally the president of the NKOTB
Well, it's
fan
funny
club in
because
like 1990.
I took the photo and I sent it to my
so
sister.
handsome.
Thank you.
You did. I
Sent
texted
it-
you that.
You did. I know. I really like that you said that because someone else was like, "You look great." I was like, "Thanks." I sent the photo to my sister, no caption, because she was a New Kids on the Block fan.
Oh my
and
god,
she
we
just
all
wrote
were.
back,
Well,
"Oh my
she's
god."
my age, right?
Yeah.
We all were.
See, I'm Backstreet Boys.
Yes, because
I was a little bit younger. However, I did see NKOBSB because they combined.
Oh,
They did that song together and they went on tour. So I did see New Kids on the Block in concert.
Hanging tough.
But I wanted to tell you real quick, the actor who plays Sir Toby, who was brilliant in it, apparently he's out of the show because he hurt himself. So the director went on.
That's amazing.
The director went on for 3 performances, and apparently, and it's normally played by a man.
Yeah,
so she went on, and apparently she was brilliant. And now they hired a new person, a woman, who happens to be the wife of the original actor.
Oh my God! I love theater. I love
Right?
the
Isn't that
drama.
exciting?
Yeah, that is exciting.
They don't do understudies.
Interesting.
I mean, we don't as well.
No,
'cause
we didn't. We never did either because it's not a.
It's
not
a cost thing. It's
and
really,
and it's like when you have like a 4 or 5 week run.
yeah.
I mean,
you would need like one actor to be like the swing understudy, and that's insane to know everybody's part. But
that's why we don't do that.
I
by
thought
the
of
way,
you
in
though. I
Jersey.
think you would love it. Every time I watch something, I always think of
Who says hello? Hi Danielle.
Hi, Danielle.
Hi guys.
But I thought of you. Whenever I see anything that is rich in direction or choreography, I always think of
God,
you.
I love
like
that.
Jagged Little Pill. I was like, you would
yeah,
love
I'm
it.
gonna go see that one. I think I just like might run in by myself and try and grab a ticket. Just like one day when the kids are in school, just maybe go to
and it's-
matinee.
I feel like that's when you get the best deal.
Yeah.
It's last minute. It's the day before. I think they released that stuff. That's how I saw Jagged Little
No,
Pill.
I
It was
want to see
literally the day
Jagged Little
before.
Pill for sure.
So yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so it was great that
So
we
we
both
were
got
like
to
theatering.
we were theatering.
And it was funny because like we definitely text frequently. Although he's been busy with this whole new ticket system, but we'll get back into our group. But we definitely text each other frequently, just to check up on each other. And we kind of want to. We're
I
always
think what's
supporting
funny
each
about
other.
us is we'll post stuff on Facebook and we'll comment and then we follow it up with a private message.
Yes. We are big private messengers.
We are big private messengers, but I think we comment. I mean, because we want to comment, but it's also like Yeah, I like this. All right, now let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
So I saw your photo when you went to see Austin and Barbara, and I was like, yay, because you got to finally meet them after we interviewed them.
First of all, Barbara came right up to me and she said, Lauren, she gave me a big
great
hug.
too,
She's
Barbara.
so dynamic. What a beautiful woman. And Austin gave me a big hug and he was like, thank you so much. And I said, I would love a picture with you. And he said, yeah, absolutely. So Todd Mills, good job on my pick. Picture came out good. And actually, Ralph, I have to give a shout out to Ralph Lampkin Music. Ralph is one of our associates. We've been working with him. He got us that interview, and he actually put that picture on his Pinterest, on his Broadway board.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm on the Broadway board on Ralph Lampkin's Pinterest.
That's
so thank
awesome.
you. Yes. And by the way, whoever is texting me today, please tell me who you are. I don't
now
know.
We're freaked out.
Now I'm freaked out.
It's no longer a joke.
It's not a joke. I want to know who you are. Someone please tell me who has been texting me this morning. The Bitmojis or the Memojis don't help me.
Yeah, no. We all look. We don't look.
We were all looking
we
at
all
it.
look the same.
Yeah.
I was just thinking though that when we went to 54 Below, we were like, we have to come back.
Yes.
We have to do that.
We do have to do that. We need a
because
night.
we had such a great time, and like I'll see stuff that's coming through, and I'm like, I want to go to that. I want to go. Isn't that when you wish you kind of just lived in the city?
Because I think for us it becomes a big project. Not that I won't go in. I love New York.
We talk ourselves out of it.
We do,
right?
And that's why I push. Because sometimes he doesn't want to go, and I'm like, we are going.
Yeah. It's true.
And then we
it's
have
so true.
We always have a great time.
It's so true because all of a sudden you're like,
it's our
do I
low
want to
time?
go? Then you're like, oh, the time of day. Oh, parking. Oh, how am I going to get in? Oh, and then all of a sudden you're like, and then you go and you always have a freaking good time. Like when we went down to Bristol.
Oh my God.
We were like, that's a long drive.
It was a long ass drive. But you know what?
It wasn't bad though.
It was longer to get there because we were going during rush hour. We had a great dinner.
But you know what was great about it too? We drove.
Yes.
And I think there's a huge difference when you're
driving.
Because honestly, it took us like a little under 2 hours. That could be like going into the city, really. Just like all the trains and everything like that.
Yeah, changing trains and running
it was good,
through.
and we did our Rent sing-along.
We always do a sing-along when we're in the car. I will always
I want to do a sing-along with Kevin.
Maureen.
Do you think Kevin will?
Kevin will do a sing-along.
Do you think Kevin will do a Rent
Any
sing-along?
questions? You might have to scroll, Kev.
No, but will he do Rent?
Hi, Maxwell.
Hi, Maxwell. But will Rent?
Into Rent? Maxwell,
you
into Rent?
Do you want to? Us?
You into us? You into? Are you texting me? He's texting me.
Kevin, would you do a Rent sing-along?
Sure.
Who would he play? I'm always Maureen. You're always Joanne. We could always. Who wants to do a miscast of Rent? Think about it.
Wait a minute, but I want to be. I don't want to just be Joanne.
No, we could be different parts.
I mean, we could. Yeah.
We're gonna swing.
I want to be Mark. You could be Roger, or do you want to be? I'll be Roger.
What?
You want to be Mark or Roger? I think we should
Who
be.
do you
like,
want to be?
Because they're all couples, so we could be
Yes.
the different. You know.
Yes.
Are you cold?
I'm
It
always
is cold in here.
It's
I
chilly
think
here.
Kevin should be Angel. Angel, do
what?
much you not.
What do we?
Naked.
Hair.
Hair.
Hair's a lot of nudity.
I mean, Angel has. There's a contact song, but not naked. You're wearing all white.
No. Are you thinking?
Oh, we are breaking things here in Homegrown Radio. NJ.
Todd is going to message me and say what's happening. Todd, are you texting me with that Bitmoji? He has to be so
and
extra.
now he lost it.
Oh my God.
Did you say he's so extra?
He's so extra over there. So what time?
So what
is
do you
it?
got coming up? We have a couple minutes. We got 5 minutes. Okay. All right, Kevin.
So I'm filming.
Kevin, have a piece of my cookie.
So I mentioned on Facebook we had the read through 2 weeks ago for it's a short film. I'm kind of falling into like this horror genre, which I love. I'm like becoming this
Eat your heart out, Jamie Lee.
Yeah, Lomo from New Jersey. So I'm filming this horror short. It's interesting. It's actually I don't know how much they said I could talk about it, and I just feel so weird. But it's actually a horror trailer, and it's a love letter to all the old Grindhouse, old horror films.
So now,
I love my character.
Wait, can you talk about what?
Yeah.
Do you can you say if you live or die?
I don't want to say.
Okay, you don't. Yeah, you should.
I don't want to say.
But here, the reason why I brought that up was someone was telling me about, I guess, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma's like real bloody, like the Broadway.
The one that it just closed.
The one that just closed.
Yeah.
Like there's a scene, of course, at the end that's very bloody. And then I was thinking about West Side Story, which I know Kevin saw, is also very bloody. And so just going back to like horror movies, like As an actor, I've never done a horror.
Oh my God, I love
but
doing
I would
horror.
love to.
I love doing
I want to
horror.
be like covered in blood. I just think like
I was.
I love
well,
horror
I'm
movies
not, I
too,
don't even
so.
know if I did. So this chicken legs.
Wait, what?
That's what's called, chicken legs. I know there's so much going on with it, but that's my third horror. So my first one I was in a TV show, and I was in the flashback. So I played the homeowner. It was a ghost hunting series. The next film I did that's horror is called The Prize. I don't know what I could say about it. I actually have to reach out to the director, but that I did get to. I don't know if I could say it. Oh my God, I didn't sign an NDA.
But don't say it.
You know what I mean? Right? Don't say it. But
Don't say it.
I definitely. Yeah. I don't
Good
really.
point.
It's so funny because. No, I don't like to talk about what I do until it's done. And this is
No,
like
but
my new
But
thing.
my whole thing is like,
Be private.
yeah, don't put it out there. I told you that my mother's like big with that. Like,
Yeah.
don't share too much.
It's
'cause
like the
then
Italian Portuguese thing.
It's like the third eye.
Yes. And my third eye is, I have to tell you, between the end of 2019
There's
and
my third eye
2020,
look.
my third eye opened. And I'm like,
Third eye blind. Remember them?
I see you. I see you. I've actually.
Wait, do that again.
I see you. I see you.
This is like very
It's
like Odyssey.
It is. It's very like Cyclops.
Cyclops.
This is why we do a show together. Yeah, I've been, and it's funny because I think some people don't, like, I am very private. I actually have been not on social media that much. So if I missed your birthday, this is your shout out. Happy freaking birthday. I'm sorry. I'm not on Facebook much anymore. I'm
wanna
still
know
on
something?
Insta. I do my stories, but I don't even pay attention.
As much as I appreciate the birthday messages I get on my birthday, I'm not a big birthday person. Like,
Yeah,
I
I'm
just
not-
don't.
yeah.
I don't look for that. I
No,
don't.
I'm
know,
not.
Like,
Some people
and I-
love their birthdays, which is awesome.
No,
You
I
keep
love
on
my
loving.
but I'm saying like messaging,
Right.
sending them messages, which is like awful to say because I
Watch him
appreciate
get
that
no.
they
He's
do
going to
that.
get no messages.
I know.
next
No,
year for his
I'm
birthday.
sorry. I just rather like send you a text message.
I've been doing more private messages, actually. My cousin's birthday's today. Shout out Tara. I sent her
Happy
a
birthday,
text
Tara.
message. My friend Gina's birthday was yesterday.
Happy birthday, Gina from Homegrown Radio.
Yes.
There you go. Real quick though, before we
Cool.
get on with our interview,
Eileen, we're going to call you in a minute.
it's January 23rd. How you doing with your resolutions? Do you do any?
I don't do resolutions. I do goals. I'm actually doing really good.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot more.
I like that you said you do goals because I'm the same way.
Yeah, I don't do resolutions. I did quit the gym, and I'm very happy about that. That was like a huge.
That was hilarious.
I
that you
know. I'm
posted about that.
committed to that gym quitting, and I'm so good at it.
Because
Because I was paying-
because my whole thing is I want to go.
Yes, yeah. I was
And-
like, I hate the gym.
No, I know, and you said you're working out at home though.
But I work
So
out
you're
at
still
home.
you've
I
found
do.
a choice. Like I'm not.
You know why? Because I think the way my life has landed, I'm like this rehearsal. I don't want to have to go to another place. And the way our house is set up, we have 2 staircases.
You just run up and down
yeah,
the staircases.
I do
'Cause
it
I
like-
could see that.
Yeah. I put
Yeah,
on my
that's-
music, or if I'm watching TV, I do my weights, I do my crunches, I do my planking. But what happened was when I got to that car accident, I couldn't work out, and I really lost my.
But you know what? You're a runner too,
Yeah,
so you can
and I
go
do
for
run
a
in the
run
spring
and everything like that.
Kevin and I talked about that because Kevin, can I out you as a quitter too? Quitting the gym. Kevin quit the gym too. We both quit at the same time.
Yeah, I
we
know.
quit the
So
same day.
hilarious. He's trying to figure out the heat. But I also do goals because I'm like, you know what? January 1st does not dictate what I should be doing. It's like,
No.
yes, it's a new year,
Yeah.
but January 1st was just as different. It wasn't any different from December 31st,
No,
right?
no,
It's
all
the same day. It's just, it's a new year. The Earth has gone around the sun. You know,
it's
one
fun
extra,
and
whatever.
And you know what I've been doing too? I actually have been talking to a lot of people. So I have some goals that I can't announce yet that are happening. My guys know. Sorry, guys, to keep it. But I try and talk to a new person every day. So yesterday I had a great conversation with the woman at Walmart. She loved my necklace. She goes, "I love your necklace." Oh, someone's messaging.
Hi, guys.
Oh, hey.
Hi.
How are you? And she goes, "What does your necklace say?" I said, "It says not sorry because I will not apologize for being me." Oh, hey, Alan. I will not apologize for being me. And we had this long conversation, and she said to me, I'm always apologizing to my husband, or like, and it was like it was interesting. It was a long, long conversation at Walmart with this employee. And we just totally hit it off. We literally were talking for like 15 minutes at the customer service. And
she was working there?
She was working, because I had to return something. By the way, those sticky bras, they don't work for me. I tried those, like, they're
sticky
like,
bras.
Yeah, they're like cups, and you put them under your breast, and then you're supposed to like lift it up.
God,
and
TMI.
let me just tell you, I'm just letting you know, girls
bring
with
one
the
in?
big
Can we try one
tata.
out?
No, I returned it. I said to her, this does
Did
not
I have
work.
a bro?
No, I just, but you know what I did? And then I'm going to call Eileen.
What?
When I went to the
A
city
bro?
Monday night,
A
I
guy.
actually went out
Why, you want to lift?
with an unsupportive bra on. And it was so liberating. Because normally I wear, like, like a big undergarment, like, like nice bras. And I just didn't feel
I've
like
been
it.
unsupported for years.
I know. You're freewheeling. But anyway, so I was returning these sticky, they're like these like those sticky hands.
But are they like reusable?
They are, but I said, these just don't work for me. I mean, Walmart will take back anything.
Yeah.
So she said this. So I had a great conversation with her. This morning, I work at a school, and the security guard, I've been there since September. This sweet man has never remembered me. And then I said, this is the last time you're going to see me because our show is Friday. Don't bother coming, everyone. We are sold out for the run. And he's like, oh, you're such a nice lady. I love talking to you. And we got into a great conversation. And I said, are you going to come see the show? And he said, I can't. He takes care of his grandchildren. His wife died 11 years ago. And I literally sat there with him for like 10 minutes. So this is, that's one thing I do. I'm getting
Do-do.
I do. I'm getting to know
Do-do.
people
You said
and
do-do.
talking. I do that on a line. Like if I'm waiting in a line at a store, I don't pull out my phone. I'll engage in conversation. I'm sure it makes some people uncomfortable, but
Hey, good for you, though.
I know. I'm going to go get Eileen on the phone.
Good for you. It is easier for someone like you because you are a very personable person.
Yeah,
but I think that's a great goal for anyone that maybe they are shy. Maybe they want to try to make more connections. I think that's a great goal. Every day, make one connection. And maybe it means that you connect with someone you know already. Someone you haven't talked to. And if that means that for you, because I think, again, going to this idea of goals, for you, it's taking your phone and sending them a message. Maybe you're not ready to pick up the phone and call them. I think that's a good step. But I think that's a great idea. That's definitely something that I want to try to do is, but of course, if I do it, Kevin, all of a sudden I start talking to someone. They're like, what do you want? Why are you talking to me? But someone like Lauren starts talking to them.
It's
and
like,
they're
oh my God, what
hi.
happened?
Yeah, or oh my God, what happened? What do you
What
need?
happened?
Do you need something? Are you okay? Yeah, totally. Do you need something? I'm like, yes, I need those sticky things for my boobs. So if you're just tuning in, we are getting ready to gear up a really awesome interview with Ilene Angel. She's an author. She's going to be talking about her book. So I think we are getting squared away here. Feel free to ask a question if you're watching us on Facebook Live. All
Definitely.
right.
All right, here we go. So, thank you all for tuning in to Chew the Scene with Lauren and Danny. And we are very excited to welcome to the airways actress, singer, songwriter, author, Ilene Angel. Hi, Eileen.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you.
Thanks for joining us.
So, Eileen, give us a little background because when I was reading through your bio, I was very impressed. So, you are not new to the showbiz scene. You're a singer, you're a songwriter, you're an actress. You've worked with so many interesting people, and then you've penned a book. So, how did you get started in show business?
In showbiz? Well, I've been a musician my entire life and been writing songs and singing and playing forever. It's really the author aspect that kind of has come later in my life. But yeah, I've been playing piano and singing and writing songs since I was a young child.
And you're on some albums with Kenny Loggins.
Yes, he did a duet on my most recent album, In Color.
Which
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. So In Color, is that a compilation of original songs? Is it covers? Yeah. Is it a mix?
They are entirely original.
That's amazing. And do you write your own music?
I do.
So you're a writer by nature.
Yes, I am a writer by nature. Absolutely.
And how'd you get Kenny Loggins?
Oh, well, that
can I ask?
Well, that's an interesting story. I met him. Well, this was kind of a funny story. I met him after one of his concerts. He formed a trio with two friends of mine from Nashville, and the group was called Blue Sky Riders. And I met him after one of their gigs in New York. And normally I really don't have a problem speaking to people one-on-one, but I just completely froze and, and could not respond to anything he was saying.
Right.
So I was regaling my friends the next night with tales of how, he would ask me a question and I said absolutely nothing. And it was just a disaster. And they were so supportive. They were laughing hysterically and falling over. And I thought, well, if it's that funny, maybe I should write about it. And so I wrote a blog about that whole interaction and what I was thinking and what happened. And then at the end of it, I answered all the questions that I would have that he asked while I was mute. And so, and I posted the blog, and I posted it, I think, like on his Facebook page, or I sent it somehow and said, well, here's how it went for me last night. And, and he liked my writing. So he reached out and we became friends and friendly. And, he offered to sing with me. And I said, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
You were like, no, thank you.
So no, he was really gracious and generous in doing that. So yeah.
Were you intimidated when you were singing with him?
You know what? The truth, the behind the scenes thing is, we recorded on 2 separate coasts. He's in California.
Okay.
So, we weren't actually singing.
But that's so cool that you could even do that, isn't it? Like, it's like amazing.
Yes.
You could be like on opposite sides of the country and still collaborate.
Yes.
Like, would that
I
happen
love that.
25 years ago? I don't know. I guess
No.
it would, but it must be easier now with technology.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
how
I don't imagine that it did happen as readily 25 years ago than now. But I'm glad that it can now.
Well, Kevin was just saying, say it again.
I said I'm glad that we have the technology now, because it makes
Yeah.
a lot of things possible.
Completely.
Yes.
No, that's how Bernstein and Sondheim wrote West Side Story, was on different coasts.
That's amazing. It's
Oh,
just
wow.
so amazing.
Yeah, that really is. So, talking about as an author, you've written 2 books, and just looking at the titles, first off, these titles are brilliant.
This is why I love you, Eileen, because I love
um,
anyone that shoots from the hip. So
I just love the In Search of George Stephanopoulos. I think that's hilarious. Talk a little bit about that book before we talk about your new book.
And well, that was like my first foray. So what happened was, I was going on a bunch of horrible blind dates that were set up by very well-meaning friends. And he was single at the time. And I thought, on paper, I have a lot more in common with George Stephanopoulos than I do any of these people I'm dating. And so so I decided to put the 6 degrees of separation, or 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, to the test.
yeah.
And I was living in Nashville at the time, writing songs. And so I didn't know anybody who knew him, but I just kept basically putting it out there and asking if anybody knew anybody, because I wanted to be introduced. And what happened was a whole series of events where I would almost, but then not meet George Stephanopoulos. And again, I would entertain people with tales of how I would almost meet him, and then it somehow fell through. And somebody suggested I start writing them down and make a book. And I thought, well, that's, who's going to care? but
Right.
As it turns out, it was probably a pretty decent idea. So anyway, so yeah, that was the genesis for that book, was the my ill-fated attempts at meeting George Stephanopoulos.
So have you met him, or is that, we're
still
read
waiting.
that book.
That's her goal for 2020. No,
Don't want to give away the
No, you shouldn't.
don't give away the ending, Eileen. We got to read the book.
Yes, go get the book.
and the books are available, I'm assuming, on Amazon. And
Yes.
yeah.
They're available on Amazon. You can order them, I think, from any brick and mortar, or Barnes and Noble, whatever. But yes, they're on Amazon.
That's amazing. I know Amazon's like, right, we get everything. I ordered something online from not Amazon, and I ordered it 6 weeks ago, and it's definitely coming from China. And
Right,
I'm pretty
but
sure it's like one. I'm pretty sure it's a man on a raft bringing my yellow sweater over. But I don't care if it comes in August. I'm wearing that damn sweater. So wait, you also wrote a Disney song.
I
Right.
did.
So talk a little about that. I am most impressed with all the facets of you, Eileen. I do hope that we get to meet in person at some point.
Same here.
I love
Yeah.
Fierce Women. So talk about that song.
It was kind of a crazy thing, but there were making a movie, and it was starring the girl that played the best friend on the Hannah Montana TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, that was, the be all end all.
Yes.
And so I asked like the producer of the film if she wanted to sing or if she could, because I thought that would increase my chances of getting a song in a movie. And which it did. And they said, and so they called her manager, which was her father, and asked, and of course, what parent is going to say my kid can't sing? Of course she can sing.
Right.
Of course she can, So I went home and wrote, and I'd seen like some of the montage, like of some of the clips. I don't remember what the exact technical term for that is, but it was in production. And so I went home and wrote a song for the movie, and they sent it and demoed it in Nashville, and but it was a pop song. I inundated myself with listening to the Hannah Montana stuff.
Yeah.
I went home, I did my crash course in kids music, and I'm like, okay, I can do this. And I wrote the song with my friend Sue Fabish, and we demoed it and sent it, and she loved it, and they recorded it. And it was, what was interesting was that song, so then they started getting it played on Radio Disney, and there was no record label, there was no anything at the time involved other than like the artist and the film company and me, so
right.
It was just not the normal route that things get done in, but it was exciting nonetheless.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
So how did you move into this new book, which again,
yes,
amazing title, How to Calm the Hell Down and Be Happy? Like when you say it, you just want to say it with force and with passion
and intention.
Well, the genesis for that was necessity. My friends would just be constantly saying, Eileen, you need to calm the hell down. And I thought, well, don't you think I would if I could? And so it started out as kind of a snarky, I'm going to just try everything that's recommended for stress relief and anxiety and all of this, and I'll tell you what works,
right.
what doesn't. And so I started, that was the beginning of that. But then I kind of realized that I really couldn't be calm if I thought that the world was just fraught with danger as soon as I stepped out my front door, and just like kind of deeper layers of what do you believe about life and the world and yourself, and kind of all of that, in addition to, essential oils and whatever, massages.
Yeah. Right.
Like that's all great. But, so I kind of, it kind of got to be a deeper thing along with the superficial external things. And I just decided, why not write it? Plus, everything I was reading just was not written from the point of view of a fellow traveler. I just felt like everybody who is writing, not to diss anybody at all, everything has value and speaks to somebody, but everything that I read just sounded like it was written by people who were already inclined to do yoga, or already inclined to meditate or to do things that I initially rolled my eyes at and thought, yeah, but what am I going to do? Like, this is just, that sounds great. But I had a lot of resistance to that, even to the idea of it. So I just felt like I wanted to say something from the point of view of, hey, I get it. And I'm with you on it. And I might be maybe 3 steps ahead on the journey, but I'm still a fellow traveler.
Yeah, and I think that's so important because I know for us, Lauren and I always talk a lot about self-care and just really taking care of ourselves mentally. And I think, we come across those books sometimes that you're mentioning, these like self-help books or, and you're intimidated by them. But if I came across your book, just that title, would make me want to pick it up and read it. And then hearing what you're saying, it tells you, we're on the same page here. This is something that we're all going through, and I think that that's important. So,
and I love that, and I agree, Danny and Eileen. I think you couldn't have timed your book perfect because we are more self-aware about mental illness, about anxiety, and I think the more open we are about it, because it can be a little isolating when you feel that you're the only one that has this anxiety. But then you talk to other people, and especially I think in our business of show, all of us here do, the stakes are high. the pressure's high. I think emotions ebb and flow. So a book like yours, I think, does it pertain mostly to artists? Do you think that it's for everyone? Because basically we're all the same. We all have hearts and brains. Biologically, we're all the same. So when you wrote this book, were you speaking to artists in particular? Because that's kind of where your perspective is.
I wasn't really thinking, honestly, that it was directed toward artists. I felt, though, that I knew that I wanted to direct it to people who may not ordinarily pick up a self-help book.
Right.
That it would be, that there would be enough stuff for people who are submerged in that kind of thing, but that it really would speak to like every man, the working person, like the person who just would not particularly, but right now it just seems like we're at such a high level of anxiety in general in the world, in our country, and in each of us in our personal lives, that I just wanted it to speak to a broader base. Who
are some of your inspirations? Like, I know, like, I'm a big follower of Tony Robbins, Brendan Bouchard, Rachel Hollis is my girl. I listen to her podcast every day. She's really someone that I admire. Who are some of your mentors, I would say, that you kind of, I don't say glommed onto, but kind of found yourself going down that path, and really their message resonated for you, and then it kind of gave you the impetus to write this book?
I think that I'm also a fan of Tony Robbins, absolutely. And I like Mike Dooley's. Do you know who he is? He has the Notes from the Universe, but he's written a bunch of books and that speak to me really well. Louise Hay, of course, was a big influence, and all of the, like, Marianne Williamson, Course in Miracles kind of people, Alan Cohn, those people have been, Wayne Dyer, like, all of those have been pretty influential.
Jay Shetty is another great one.
Yes.
I follow him religiously.
I do too.
Do you have a question?
Eckhart Tolle.
Eckhart Tolle, yep.
Yeah.
So, Eileen, what has the response been for your book?
It's been really good.
Yeah, people are doing a lot more reading now.
Yeah,
they really are.
It always surprises. It's funny because it always surprises me when somebody will come up and tell me they've got it for a bunch of people that they know, or they really got a lot out of it, and I'm thrilled. So yeah, I'm glad that it's reaching people in a bigger way.
Do you think you'll ever do an audiobook and you can self-narrate?
Yes, I would love to do that.
Just because I love your voice right now.
Right?
I feel like
yes, she would be perfect for it.
I'm like copying her a little bit. I'm like, I hear your voice and my mimic ear is suddenly mimicking.
Soothing.
It is soothing.
I feel calmer
Yeah.
hearing you talk.
See, that's I do. I plan on doing that in the very near future. So I will let you know.
And you have the perfect last name, Angel. So I just feel like it all fits.
Everything is perfect.
So,
thank you.
Eileen, you have such a wide variety of mediums that you're working in. Is there one that you prefer more than the other? Is it the singing, the songwriting? Is it the writing a book?
That's a hard question to answer, only in as much as it's like kind of saying, which child do you like best?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
But I always think of myself first, because I've started in music like in early childhood. I always think of myself foremost as a songwriter. But now, I have 2 books done, and hopefully there'll be a third in the future. And so, it's hard to, the author is slowly catching up to it, but music is always going to be the first thing in my heart.
So Danny had mentioned, the different mediums: author, singer, actress. Is there something that you haven't touched upon yet? Have you done film? Or, you know what I mean? Like, is there something that you're like, I want to do that? Because you kind of seem like that you're not afraid of things. So you're not afraid to. I think it's why I like you so much, because and this is what I'm just getting from social media, is that if you have an idea, you kind of you rip off the Band-Aid and you go for it full force.
Or like able to put yourself out there and try something new.
I do, and I like to. And it's funny that you keep saying actress, because honestly, like when I started out, I did musical theater, which I love, but I haven't in a gazillion years done anything resembling acting. But that is something where I think about it a little bit, I don't know. I just love all the facets of the arts. So I'm sure that I'll delve further into it. I kind of am thinking about, I've been thinking about screenplays the last couple of years.
Good.
So that's something that I'm going to start doing. And I don't know, whatever things that I'm trying to stay open to what opportunities come my way and say yes to things that appeal to me or that scare the hell out of me.
Well, Danny, what do I say?
Do something that scares the shit out of you every day.
I always say that. I go, you got to do something that scares the shit out of you once a day. Once a day.
Right.
And I do.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
Right, because otherwise, if you're staying in your little comfort zone box, then you're not going to be moving forward.
No, you're not at all. And then that's when depression, I think, sets in. And I think sometimes people have a hard time. And I always use that example, ripping off the Band-Aid, because, and Kevin and I have had this conversation. What am I afraid of? Am I afraid of success? I think success is scarier than failure. And I say failure loosely, because that word is a little abrupt for me. But it's easy to stay in your lane, because how do you handle success? That's,
I'm sorry, I was going to say, also, isn't it as artists, as people, you go out for a gazillion auditions, we're used to what failure feels like.
Yes, rejection, yeah.
And so we're not exactly sure what success that we haven't experienced yet is going to be like,
right?
And how that's going to change. I'm saying we, it's everybody. I'm just saying
me.
The
collective we. I totally get it.
Yeah, it's I'm not sure how that's going to change my life. Is it going to change my where I live or what I do? You know what I mean? There's that unknown. There's that unknown quantity there that is just a little bit, you have to get outside your comfort zone, because it's what you say you want. But, when it comes right down to it, ripping off the Band-Aid is scary.
It is scary. But every time I've done it, I will say for me, and I go through I'm definitely going to read your book, because I will go through the anxiety, especially in our business of show, a lot of different personalities that you get to meet and work with. And I would say the 20-year-old Lauren would walk away. But now I'm like, oh no, let's jump right in. I'm going for it.
And I feel too that once you rip that Band-Aid off, if it doesn't go well, you're like, I knew this going in.
But what's my lesson?
When you have that success, then you're like, hey, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Right. I love how you mentioned the screenplays, because just hearing about your two books, I feel that they could be screenplays. I mean, In Search of George Stephanopoulos could be a sitcom. Just, hearing it. I mean, what a fun concept
I want to read that, actually.
Be. Yeah. So, I mean, talking about screenplays, have you thought about taking your books and adapting them into a screenplay, or working on something completely new?
Well, working on something new for the screenplays now, but I did have somebody talk to me about, express interest in the George Stephanopoulos book. Whether that will come to fruition or not, I don't know, as with everything in, the business. But, but at least it's kind of interesting that somebody thinks that would be something that could translate to the screen.
Yeah, so, I have this vision in my head. I mean, now, because it's like Good Morning America, just seeing the character kind of standing out there in Times Square, or just these constant connections with it, I think it would be very funny.
And you mentioned the dating pool, and I'm not in the dating pool, but I have friends that are, and they tell me these stories. So I could only imagine in the big city, it must even be harder than in a little suburb of New Jersey. The city is just full of so many people. I would love to see some of your stuff on film. I'm actually a budding filmmaker. Yes, very small bud. But it's something that I've always loved. Yeah, but you can grow from it. And I'm definitely making some connections with some very interesting people that are in the business. And I'm scared out of my mind about it, because I grew up doing theater. My parents met in theater. I always say my first role was Lola. My mom was pregnant with me when she played that role. So I grew up in the theater, and I love it. I absolutely love it. but I've always loved movies and television, so I can understand why you're like I'm interested in screenplay writing, because there is something so. I don't want to say that theater's not real. Theater is life. Theater is important, but what I love about film is sometimes you can capture those real life nuances that sometimes I personally think it's hard to capture in theater. That's just my opinion, though.
Right. No, I get that.
You know,
and it's true because in film you can have the close up.
Yes.
You can have like
the quiet moments.
Right. Or like in I don't know if you guys saw Glenn Close in The Wife.
No.
And like so much of her performance was just her facial expressions.
Yeah.
It was just crazy how many layers and how much depth there was. So I definitely get that. But that said, I totally love theater too.
Oh no, I do too. I mean, I'm like never. It's funny because like I said, I'm kind of crossing into doing more film and TV. But theater is always going to be. I teach theater. Yeah. I love my students. But my students are booking work. Like they'll come in and be like, Miss Lauren, I booked a student film at NYU, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like for me that's the joy of theater. Yeah, we're both teaching artists, so when I see my students being successful at what they want to do, that's the thrill for me. And let me tell you, if you called me, Eileen, and said, I'm writing a play, I want you to play the part, I would say, sure. I'm there.
We're still actors and hungry for work.
We are hungry for work.
Eileen, what do you do? We always, as I mentioned before, we talk a lot about self-care on the show.
Yeah, like what's your hobbies?
And when we talk with artists, we always ask them, what do you do to unwind for that self-care? And I would say 9 out of 10 times they always say that it's the art. That's their self-care. But is there anything besides that you do? And just to kind of step away from the world,
the creative.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I probably as far as like the reducing stress thing, I find like if I start my day with not being inundated by news or media or whatever, that I definitely have a better day. So I think some of it is being intentional about what I take in, like what I allow to to cross my path as much as that's possible. So like I don't have notifications on any of my like on social media or anything. Like I don't my phone is not dinging 20 times a day. Right. Because that just does not calm me down. But like personal self-care, I mean, I do, it's like, when you're in the arts and you write and you whatever, I thoroughly enjoy that. So getting to do that is relaxing to me and is self-care, especially writing, because writing is how I process life. And so it just it somehow enables me to like process whatever I'm going through or thinking about or something new comes to me. So so yeah, I guess my art really is my form of relaxation too.
And we're lucky that we get to do this. I always say it's our gift. And my dad always tells me, you're given a gift. You must use your gift down here. And that's what will kind of get you to the next level. But I love that you mentioned, I have a no news rule first thing in the morning. I don't need to hear CNN. I don't need to hear people's opinions. I live in this world. I very, very much know what's going on. I pay attention. I'm just not vocal about it. I don't want to add to all the cacophony of noise. Right. Because a lot of, there's a lot of negativity masquerading as positivity. And when you remove yourself from the conversation, you see it more. And I'm talking about, I'm talking about politics. The most relevant thing in my news feed is the president, and it's not by the people that like him. So all these people are keeping him in our algorithm. Right. Every time you post that you don't like him, the news feed picks that up. So that's just giving this person more power. I wouldn't even mention the name. I also believe you are what you eat, and that means what you put into your body food-wise. That's who you hang out with. That's who you trust with your, that's who you follow on social media. I'm very particular who I follow on social media. There's a lot of people that I don't follow because I don't want to absorb their energy. I'm very into energy and the universe. Yeah. And I think that's why I felt a complete connection with you from the moment that we became friends on Facebook, because I sense that you are the same way. I actually, there's a lot of times that I will remove all the apps from my phone. I will like I go through frequent times when I log out and I remove the apps, because then I don't have that urge, because it's an addiction, to look. What am I looking at? The same shit. I'm scrolling through, and then the scrolling is endless, and then an hour later I've wasted an hour of my day that I could have been doing some work on myself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I am the same way. And it's funny because like Facebook, well, all of my social media, because I used to, my first book, because it's centered with like George Stephanopoulos, and I was, very vocal politically, that's sort of, I was writing about politics a lot, and I posted about whatever. But once that was sort of done and I was on this book, like for, years later, I really made a conscious decision at some point that was the end of that. You know, like that was that I wanted to post only what would, uplift, if it's not like, whatever gigs and stuff I'm doing, sure. But only things that would uplift. And my only exception to that is if it's a call to action. If there's something where I'm saying, call your senators about,
sure.
HR 545, whatever it is,
That I agree with.
But other than that, I really don't, do that. And I'm kind of like you, and in as much as really not wanting, I mean, I read all the posts and things, but but I'm not going to engage because you get more of whatever you're focusing on. And so you have to be intentional about what you're focusing on.
You sure do, because life is a vibration, Ilene.
It is, exactly. And what you surround yourself with, because that saying garbage in equals garbage out.
Right.
It's kind of like that's, but you don't want that to be your life. So,
and people will say it doesn't affect me. It does affect you, because I could tell by your body language.
Right.
Because I have pulled myself back, and now I'm a fierce observer. And so now I can see the body language, and I could see I could even see the tone in someone's post.
Yep.
I can tell when you're sad, because I have removed myself from the conversation, because when there's all that yelling going on, you're yelling, no one's hearing you.
Right. Exactly. And then, the thing I always ask is like, what are you creating or what are you destroying?
Yes.
By whatever it is you're saying or doing.
Right.
Because you're creating something. And, so that's, I feel like a lot of people, I feel like we in general as a society are, we live like in reaction to everything.
Yes.
And not from a point of saying, we're each autonomous. It's like you decide if you're on Facebook 20 hours a day or what you're watching or saying or, all of it. And I think that just understanding that you're going to reap the rewards or the detriment is important. So,
I am totally with you, Ilene. And that's what I loved about your book. I've read Girl Wash Your Face, Girl Stop Apologizing. I read all these books. You Are a Badass, and your book goes right along with those.
That's why we need to read How to Calm the Hell Down and Be Happy.
And I know a lot of people that need to read this book too, because I think if we don't take life so personally, you will be surprised at what benefits you reap.
Right, it's true, and also just observing what comes out of our own mouths. Just in terms of, I forgot who I was talking about, but I said, like nothing they say is ever positive. Yeah. And I thought if you would just like record yourself for a day, or pay attention to what you're saying throughout the course of one day, like we'd all realize how much of an impact what we're saying is having on ourselves.
It's kind of like when you look at those Facebook memories and you go, I wrote that?
Yeah.
That just doesn't sound like me.
Well, and and anyone who has been around me, Kevin can attest to it, and a lot of my girlfriends, do not talk bad about yourself in front of me, because I will not allow that. And I will also try and get you to, because people say, how are you so confident? How are you, I want to be like you. I said, well, you can't be like me because I'm the only Laura Moran Mills, but you can be like you, Janet Smith. I mean, that's really nobody. But I said, what's your self-talk like? Because you're with yourself the most. And if you talk bad about yourself and constantly put yourself down, you're going to believe it. And there's got to be something about you that you like. Focus on that, and then you'll layer that in, and then there's going to be something else that you like. And then when you start to lift your energy, you'll be surprised at all the goodness that is bouncing back to you. But if you perpetuate this negativity, I mean, I know people on Facebook, they're constantly posting woe is me stuff.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, I scroll on by.
Right.
It's not because I don't.
And you could read, and you could, that they're asked. It's a call for help.
It's a call for help, and I mean, I'll DM you and be like, "This is what you need." I don't like to give unsolicited advice because that's annoying. But if you're going to constantly put negative stuff on social media, why would you get anything positive back? It's not going to happen. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah, I do write about that whole what our self-talk is in the book, because it's like, if you would not allow what you're saying to be said about your best friend or your child or your spouse, then you sure as hell shouldn't be saying it about yourself.
No, I agree with you. I have some mantras that I say in the morning about myself, and I'm very humble about my mantras, but I say them, and that gets me through my day. I get out of bed in the morning. I do my work from home. 9 o'clock is when I start my work, if I'm home, if I don't have a rehearsal. 9 o'clock to noon. I do 3 hours a day just on Lauren time. And that's not even social media unless I'm promoting, like I was promoting you yesterday. But your self-talk, and also how you allow people to treat you.
Yeah.
But that's all a learning curve. And that comes from experience, which you're not going to get unless you do something that scares you once a day and rip off the freaking Band-Aid.
There's a title of a book right there.
There you go. So, Eileen, where can our listeners find you? Give us websites, give us socials, give us all the deets.
Well, you can find me everywhere. No.
Yes, you can.
My website is ileneangel.com. And it's Ilene, Ilene, angel.com. You can also, and you can find my books and music on my website. You can find them on Amazon and all of the various digital media outlets. You can find them there. And I'm actually doing a workshop on how to calm the hell down in Long Island a week from Sunday on February 2nd in Glen Cove.
Interesting.
So, from 11:30 to 1, a 90-minute workshop.
So talk a little bit about that. What are you going to be doing during that workshop?
Oh, I'm sorry?
I said talk a little bit about that. Like, give us a little description of what you're going to be doing.
Or can you reveal a little bit?
Basically, so it's obviously dealing with the concepts in the book. So some of it are like the questions of, what are you willing to let go of, and what are you willing to, like those kinds of things. So it'll be some leading questions. It'll be it'll be a variety of things. It's going to be interactive. So, because awesome. I don't want to just stand up there and talk for 90 minutes. That would bore me.
So do me a favor. In the comments, can you write down on this video the info for that? Because I would love to get some people there for you, because that's fantastic. Because there is something about being there with a person that's just, when you get that chemistry with the person actually being there. Do you do any Skyping sessions? Do you do all that stuff too?
I do. I do. I'm gonna start to, I'll be posting all this stuff, but I am gonna do. So this workshop's in Long Island. I'm gonna start doing it in the city in Manhattan. I'm hopefully gonna do one in Westchester because that's where I live. And I'm going to start there'll be ultimately an online course that people can download.
Nice.
That's great.
So I want to try to branch out on some of those things, because I think it would be more helpful, I think, than just necessarily reading the book.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can post the workshop info on the Facebook thing. Was that what you mean?
Yeah, post it.
So we could share it on our page and with our listeners.
Okay.
So.
Okay, great.
And am I being obnoxious? I want a signed copy of your book. I'm all about self-help, and listen, I've come a long way, baby, with my own self-help and my self-care. So I'm like,
but I think just listening to you talk about the book and just your own experiences again makes you want to. Makes you want to read.
Copies, of course.
Well, you got to be honest about yourself, and this is one thing that Kevin and I talk about too. Self-work is very hard. It's hard for us sometimes to come to grips with what we're bringing to the table. But once you do it, God, you feel like you can exhale.
Right.
You know, because sometimes we're the toxic people. I mean, sometimes I'm the toxic person. I get it, you know.
No, it's true. I mean, I think even, talking about the social media, I know for me, that's something I'm struggling with, how to unplug, and finding ways. And I think it's nice to hear what others are doing and to know that you're not the only one. I think sometimes we think we're the only one dealing with it. So I think that's important.
That's true. Absolutely.
Ilene, thank you so much for joining us today. And I appreciate your patience because we had to push the interview back because I had to switch some guests around. But it almost worked out perfectly that we were able to do this today. And now I have your phone number. You have my phone number. And I would definitely love to stay in touch.
Same here.
Thank
you so much for having me.
Oh, my gosh. Thank you. Thank you. And I will definitely let you know when the link is up on YouTube.
And we want everyone to go get that book, How to Calm the Hell Down and Be Happy.
Calm the hell down, people.
Thank you so much, Ilene.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye-bye. That's fun. I love self-help. I'm like so into like the self-help genre right now. Like even like in the morning, like I get up at 6:45 with the kids. I do sit in bed because Todd does the morning thing because I do the after school schlepping everywhere. Yeah. So I kind of like I'll drink my coffee. Yeah, it's teamwork. I do my coffee. I read in the morning. I don't like Todd likes the news in the morning. I try and go like la 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 because I don't like to start off my day with that negativity. And it is negativity because it's all opinions.
You want to know something? It's a challenge for me because I'm having a hard time unplugging because of work. How do you? It's almost like I want to throw out a call to action. Those that do social media, that do marketing, how do you unplug? How do you unplug by and able still to do your job? Because I feel like when I eventually unplug is when I'm going to need it for some reason. But I'm a big news junkie, and it's something that I need to find a way to. That's why I love hearing your mantras and what you do, because it's inspiring to hear it and to know, you know what? Try it. Just try it.
I tell everyone.
Do an experiment.
Yes. You don't have to keep it, but I do it.
Yeah, I just think it's interesting to, I noticed that once a new year comes around, it's all about resolutions and blah, blah, blah. It's the same thing, but so there's been a lot of conversation about unplugging and things like that, and I have a couple friends that are doing like the 100-day challenge where they're not on Facebook for 100 days and things like that.
I mean, I admire you guys. I'm like, I don't want to do that, but that's like
today
4 months.
Speaking of the news, today in the news, but I don't really, I watch like the Today Show. It's more like a morning, whatever. But they were talking about cash versus credit card and like, are you saving money? Like stuff like that I think is kind of fascinating to me because I want to, know like, are there ways to change habits?
Yes.
That's what they are. They're habits.
Well,
how do you change habits?
Well, I have definitely worked hard. I'm not trying to bring it back to me.
I'm addicted to like my phone, they're addictions, they're habits.
Well, they say like, what's it, like 30 days to get over an addiction or something?
Yeah.
So it was hard the first time when I was like, I think I messaged you. I was like, text me. I'm off of Facebook. I'm like, my page is there, but I'm not really going on. And I loved it. And I was so much more in the present. I'm working on
that when I go on
many
vacation.
things.
When I go on vacation, I'm like, I'm not going to be on my phone.
Oh, yeah. Like, even like the other night we were in the city, I was like, I'm not going to be on my phone.
But it's funny because they were talking about like your phone again on the news. And they were talking about your phone and they were saying to do like hours, like maybe from 8 to 10. You're not available.
Yeah.
Just like 2 hours. It could
and
just
I'll
be
tell
2
you,
hours.
at night, sometimes like I don't answer. Like sometimes, like our school, I'll get an email like 11 o'clock at night from a teacher. I will not answer you till the next morning. Well, I will not answer you because you know what? You're not going to answer me on an off time.
Exactly. It should almost be like
don't bother
work
me.
Emails unless it's urgent.
Yeah.
Which is a challenge sometimes when you do social media marketing because you are
always on.
You're always on. If something happens, you have to step in and put something online or whatever.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's not work hours, so why are you answering work emails?
No, like why am I getting? And I'm like, I get it, but like I've gotten emails from teachers like 11 o'clock at night. I'm sorry, I think that's inappropriate. Do not email a parent at 11 o'clock at night. I won't answer you till the next morning. Like this is just a note going for everyone. No, do not bother me about
Don't
work.
call me after 10 o'clock.
Oh, no, after 8 o'clock. I'm done with work.
There you go.
8
but
o'clock,
I'm saying like no calls
not.
after 10, even family.
See, but you also have the do not disturb feature on your phone.
I know. I have a Samsung, so I don't know. But
I mean, like, I don't know.
Well, I got a call
now I'm
from...
like, selling stuff on eBay, so I'm always like on my phone because I'm checking on my eBay.
But you know what? I got a call from a teacher, and I was in a meeting, and it was for my daughter, and the woman was like talking at me, and I actually stopped her. I said, "Excuse me, I'm in a meeting right now." She went, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, ask me if I don't just start talking at me." And I was very abrupt with her because I thought that was rude. Like, I'll call Kevin and be like, "Is it a bad time? Is this a bad time?" I will always be like, "Hey, do you have a minute?"
Or she's like, "I have to touch you real quick, super quick."
Yeah, super quick.
Yesterday we talked super quick.
Like, super quick. I was like, I have a question for you.
But
don't call me. And I mean, I've done that too, where I've called a friend and been like, blah, blah, blah. But Kevin, I'll be like, "Are you busy? What are you doing? You sleeping? You eating?" Like, I always will say, like, "Do you have a minute?" Like, be like respectable. Don't call me.
What are you doing?
Because you're emotionally charged, and because I will put you in your place. I won't be rude. I will flip it and I'll be polite about it, but I will put you in your place. I've done that with people online. I've been unfriended. I had someone unfriend me because they were very not inappropriate sexually, too familiar with me, and made a joke about someone. And he said to me, he's like, "Oh, anytime I'm funny, I get in trouble." I'm like, "Well, you're not funny, so that's number one. You're not a funny person." Secondly, I said to him, "You're too familiar. You don't even know me." And aside from some pithy comments on Facebook, he unfriended me. Bye-bye. I don't care.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. People want to unfriend me.
It's
bye-bye.
like,